I do realize that this is a bit of a challenging position to be in, being the speaker right after lunch, and I'll do my best to try to keep you all awake. A little bit about myself. Some of the speakers and I were talking a little bit earlier about how the secondary theme of this conference seems to be passion. And I certainly have a passion not only for this industry, but for teaching. I am a perfectionist, so I actually enjoy pattern making. So there's whatever you truly enjoy, there's a place for you in the industry. I also always wanted to live abroad, and I sort of put that out there. And the importance of meeting people cannot be underscored enough, the importance of networking. I went to a conference, sat at a dinner table with someone, told her about my desire to live abroad, and 4 weeks later got a phone call asking if I'd like to interview for the chair of fashion in Dubai. And I went and lived in Dubai for 4 years. Brilliant opportunities come up when you open your mouth, let people know what you're interested in, and meet as many people as you can. The other great story I like to tell my students is I actually interviewed at Buffalo State 20 years ago and didn't get the position. And I could have been sour, and I could have been dour, and I could have turned my back because they didn't want me. But instead I became friends with some of the faculty there. We really seemed to click it off. And then 20 years later they called me and asked me if I would interview for the chair position, and accepted me in at that time. So don't ever burn bridges. This is a small global industry, I guess is a good way of putting it. So, why fashion? Well, I've been sewing since the age of 7. I tried retail for a number of years. I went to New York City, worked on 7th Avenue for Kay Unger and her group. Earned my master's, earned my doctorate, started teaching. But there's really only one reason why I came into fashion. Oh, and it's not that. To find a pair of pants that fit. So how many of you have gone shopping and you have to try on how many pairs of pants before they fit you? Yes, I see a few hands there. I find it to be the impossible mission sometimes. And when I find a pair that fits, I might buy 3 or 4, even if they're all black, of that same size and that same pants, just because I'm so thrilled to have found something that fit me. So that was my quest. Now, when you were first thinking about going into fashion, this might have been your image of fashion. These are the Victoria's Secret angels, and aren't they beautiful? They are tall, they are thin, they are gorgeous. It is glamorous, it is runway, it is fancy lights, it's excitement, it's fun. But the reality is probably more like this. This is the Dove Real Beauty campaign. These are not models, these are actual real people. And these are the women who are buying the clothes that we're making, not the Victoria's Secret models. They're not overly thin, they have tummies, they have flabby arms, they have curves. In the US, the average woman is 5'4" and 154 pounds. Which is about 162 centimeters, and if I figured it out correctly, 11 stone. Okay. In the UK, it's also 11 stone, but you're about an inch shorter than we are. That's your average consumer. That's who's buying those clothes, not the Victoria's Secret model. And that is one of my challenges when I came into the apparel industry, was if you want to make money, you've got to be able to fit the people you're making these clothes for. Okay, so here's some fun facts. 60% of British women complain that they're unhappy with the fit of their clothes labeled as being their size. Now this could be just that they're unhappy with the size of their clothes. It could also be, and I've heard this since I worked in retail, in the United States, being a single-digit size is very important to women's vanity. So they'll go up to a size 8, but heaven forbid if they have to try on a size 10 pair of pants, because they don't want to be called a size 10. They're under a 10. So therefore we've got the vanity sizing, where suddenly now we've got double O and triple O sizes in the United States. I think we're going to negative next, because I can't imagine what's coming after that. UK average bust size is about 95 centimeters, and that's considered the largest in the EU. Dutch women are the tallest in Europe and have the thickest waists at 32. In hips, the Germans and Dutch are the most bottom heavy. Okay, any surprises yet? Okay, what about the American women? We have the thickest waist at 33.5 inches. Okay. It's not something we're very proud of, I would say. So why is fit important? Well, fit has serious implications for retailers, specifically online retailers. You cannot try on the clothes before you buy them. So you're buying on a whim or on previous experience or on hope that these clothes will fit you. They not only serve a local population or population of people that you can sort of see what sizes they are when they come into your store, but you're selling on a global scale where you might know anything about the size of somebody in another country. Very difficult. Return rates for online retailers are the highest in the industry. In the United States, 20 to 40% of items, clothing, bought online get returned. That's exorbitant. UK, 25 to 50, Germany, close to 50. Why do we care? Because each return, not including the apparel itself, costs us money to take in, unpack, check to make sure it's still in good condition, either restock or toss it into a bin and get rid of it some other way. In a brick and mortar store, customers can try on the clothing, and they've traditionally had much lower return rates, therefore are much more profitable. So, in the theme of what I'm talking about, can anyone guess why do customers return goods? Yeah, I'm not trying to fool anyone here. 70% said it was due to fit. Huge amount. Take a look at the next ones. It drops significantly so that the next two reasons, even those two together, don't add up to fit. Can anyone see themselves in one of these reasons? How many of you can see yourself in the first one? Have you ever bought something and then returned it due to fit? Absolutely. And remember that customers don't like returning garments. They try it on. It's demoralizing to find out that these pants that you thought were so great and you wanted to wear Saturday night aren't going to fit you. So you have to pack them up. You have to sometimes either call or fill out a label or some sort of return form. You have to pack it back up. You either have to call for somebody to pick up the package or take it to the shipping postage place and have it returned. So it's a hassle. And customers don't like hassles. Human dimensions. Getting to the crux of the problem. Why are they so important? So first, let's talk about anthropometrics. Anthropometrics is a much older science than the science of clothing sizes. This is the study of human measurements. And they don't measure exactly the same as we do in clothing, but it was the first sort of databases that we had that talked a little bit about humans and their size and shape. And these are important measurements because this is what's used for our cars, for airplane seats, though I think they're using really old databases because the airplane seat I came in on was like this big. Computer workstations, desks, the chairs that you're sitting in, all probably had some sort of a background. Somebody learned something about anthropometrics in it. Ergonomics helps us add range of movement to that, so that when I'm reaching for something in a repetitive motion, I don't get an injury. So these two sciences sort of got together and started talking to the apparel research teams. And I'm going back to about the 80s or 90s when they started talking to each other. And out of the anthropometrics grew a much stronger interest in clothing sizes. So, short history. Not surprisingly, it was the Mail Order Association of America back in the 1930s that asked the National Bureau of Standards to please come up with some sort of standard that we can make clothes and send them out to people. Before this, does anyone know how clothing was sized before this? Yes? Patterns, yes, but there was a number on those patterns. Do you know what those numbers designated for especially young misses, like up to age 20? Any idea?
Age.
Exactly, it was the age. So if you're 16 years old, then obviously you wore a size 16. Sounds simple, doesn't it? Yeah, doesn't sound real realistic right now. So, and then when you got older, it changed to a bust size, but only the bust size was given, maybe a height. Okay, so obviously they learned pretty early on that this was not going to work very accurately. So O'Brien and Shelton, two women, conducted an anthropometrical study of almost 15,000 women and created the first official clothing size chart in the United States. Now there were some problems with this. First of all, all the women that they measured were young, unmarried, and white. So all of our clothing standards in 1941, when this came out, were based on those women. All other subjects that had showed up to be measured were kicked out of the study. Unfortunately. Okay, in 1958, catalog companies said, oh great, let's use it. Oops, it doesn't work. Why? Young, all female, unmarried. So in 1958, they said, well, let's update these sizes and let's use the information that we've gotten from customers. So all those times they had things that said, oh, this doesn't fit, that doesn't fit. They compiled all that information, sort of massaged things around, and came up with another set of sizing. They had 27 different sizes, and all of them held the bust constant, and all of them assumed an hourglass figure. In 1971, they said, let's update this and add in some armed forces women. How helpful was that for the general population? Not very helpful. That was withdrawn 12 years later. 1995, the ASTM International, which is Associations of Standard and Testing Materials, created sizing standards. And who the ASTM is they're a bunch of retailers, for the most part, that get together and without telling anybody else what they're doing, they want to create clothing standards. These don't work. These have never worked. They have always been on the books, but they've never been law. They've only been suggested sizes. So what use are they, truly? And I'm going to come back to the 2004 Size USA in just a minute. Okay, so what have you guys been doing? There's a European standard for clothing sizes, and there's actually 4 different parts of it. Except that there's different way to size clothing, that you can either measure the body and create clothing from the body dimensions, or you can measure the garment and say, well, for this garment, it's going to fit this size. And just so you know, that's typically for things like pajamas. Okay, for this size, because they're very loose fitting. Or using a code that has no relationship to either the body dimensions or the clothing. Doesn't that sound like a good idea? Okay. Then they go on to Article 2, Section 2, articles of clothing that have a main and secondary measurement. So they say a jacket, the main measurement's the bust, secondary would be height and waist. Number 3, they don't take just one measure. They take a range of measures. So basically they're trying to come up with all different ways of doing their own sizing standards. 2006, it was voted on and passed, and it's been largely disregarded. So how accurate are all these studies? Well, for the one that I said based everything from the 1940s on all those young white women, not accurate at all. We've massaged it over the years based on feedback from customers, but I think we can do better than that. We need to have the correct measurements to create a sizing scheme and have updated sizing standards. However, when the data is set into a built-in size charts, we look at averages. This is a problem. And let me tell you that the average person is very rare. We are all extremely unique in terms of our bodies, our shapes, and our sizes. This is why size charts don't work. So just for fun, I took a data set of 7,000 women. I decided to hold their waist constant. So I decided on a 27-inch waist, and I allowed it to have a half-inch variation either way. So 26.5 to 27.5. With me so far? I took a look at only those women, and according to all the standards charts, they're either a fairly straight up and down figure that has a hip 4 to 6 inches larger, or a hip 8 to 10 inches larger. So they're either straighter or they're curvier. Okay, so let's do the math for a second. 27-inch waist, 4 to 6 would be 31 to 33-inch hip. Okay, 8 to 10-inch would be 36 to, if I'm wrong, you better tell me. 37. Okay? There's a 12-inch difference. 30 to 42 inches were those hips, based on a single waist size. Who was average in there? None of them. Okay, so the sizing scheme created would have not fit the majority of the women in that sizing study. So in their efforts to fit the current population, and we are getting larger as a population, this won't be news to you, both taller and heavier, though not necessarily in a proportionate way. And if we look back on records from the 1960s, women have gotten about 2 stone taller. I'm sorry, 2 stone taller. 2 stone heavier and about an inch taller. So how can we use technology to help us? Well, in 2000 was the first automated technology, body scan technology. And this was based on some Air Force the Air Force was using this technology. We scanned over 4,000 subjects in 3 different countries, and that became the first database. It was so successful, Size USA took place in 2003 and 2004. There was by a body scanner developed by the Textile Clothing Technology Corporation, and this is a body scanner that was specifically made to get human dimensions for clothing. 250 dimensions, less than 7 seconds. Okay. Size UK was also done in 2004, 11,000 subjects. You can read right there. Plus, what's important, market research questionnaire. Now, what's nice about these questionnaires is that you can narrow it down to a certain specific population. Like if I just wanted to sell to people in Manchester, Manchester was one of the sites, I can narrow it down to just the people in Manchester and find out what their sizes are and if they're different from anywhere else. We've got sizing studies going on all over the world right now. Spain, China, Mexico, Australia, just trying to get these different populations. So before we were trying to homogenize everyone, now we're realizing that there are a huge difference. Can we do more? We've got human-shaped dress forms. Have you seen those old dress forms that didn't have buttocks? They're sort of hard and standard and static. The new ones actually have tummies. They're soft, and they're shaped more like humans are shaped, including when you get up into the plus sizes, lumps and bumps on their bodies. So let's keep on individualizing fit. Meality. Let me know if you've heard of any of these companies. This is a service geared to match customers to brand and fit selection. So what they do is you go to a mall, you get scanned, and they print out a sheet that tells you, okay, in this mall, these are the brands that will fit you, and these are the clothes, the sizes that you should try on. Okay, well that certainly helps it a little bit. One of the big problems was that they only had certain size brands, and they were only for the average size consumers. They weren't for anybody in the plus size category. Who has the most difficulty fitting in clothes? Plus size category. Okay, they've got wider variation in body shape and in grading rules. They're no longer, as far as I can tell, they're no longer in business. So whatever their idea was great, but the business model didn't work for them. Staiku, it's a smart fitting room. Now let me show you, I think I've got it, here we go. So what you do is these are, so for like Macy's or JCPenney's or any company that buys into this Staiku, this is what's going to show up on the website. You pick a pair of pants and then you say, fit me. There's a little thing that says fit me. And you go in and you talk about your body shape. I'm curvy, average, I am straight. You give some basics about your height and weight, and it comes back with a recommended size for you in that pair of jeans or pair of pants. And then it'll tell you, well, if you buy this size, it might be a little bit loose in the waist for you, but it'll fit just right in the hips. So you have some idea before you get it home how that's going to fit. Helpful? Yeah. Okay, Staiku also has a body scanner. It's one of the least expensive on the market, and it uses Kinect motion sensors. Has anyone ever heard of Kinect? I thought so. One of the other issues is personal fit criteria. Take a look at this dress, same dress. Looks a little different, doesn't it, on the two people? So one obviously wears it a little bit more demurely, and the other one's a little more, shall we say, va-va-voom. Okay, but both of them felt it fit correctly. This is a fits.me. If you go to Ghost uses this for their Emma dress. If you go onto their site, they actually have a fit advisor, and they'll ask you, do you like your clothes to fit a little tighter? Do you like them average, or do you like it loose? And it'll show you little avatars of what these fits look like, so that you can make your decision, oh, I like it tight, and I want to wear it this way. Or no, I'm a little bit more comfortable with a looser fit. So that gives you a little bit more information and a visual to take a look at of what you're interested in. Now, the other wonderful thing that we have online is customer feedback. Have any of you ever used customer feedback when you want to buy something and you take a look and you see what other people, I've stopped shopping certain, I'm like, oh, I don't want that. That sounds awful. Because you get stuff like this that talks about a pair of pants that doesn't fit her very well, and actually they're very unhappy. I went to I don't know if you know about all the issues that JCPenney's is having in the United States, but right now not a whole lot of their old true customers like them, because they've changed their sizing, their styling, and who their demographic was, and now they've just changed it back, and they're trying to win everybody back. But what you're getting is a lot of angry customers on the sites talking about, hey, they've changed their sizes. These pants that fit me for the past decade no longer fit me. And it's kind of interesting to get that kind of feedback. Some other fun things are virtual dressing rooms, which I'm not quite sure how useful they are. If you've not seen it, basically what they do is they project the garment on your body. And you can turn and it moves the garment with you. It's not 100%. It's kind of interesting. I'm having signs flashed at me, so otherwise I'd go to some of these links and show you what they look like. So I think it's more of a hook than it is any true idea of fit, but it's interesting. Remember what I mentioned, Kinect? Did it catch anybody that Kinect's a body scanner? And there's 24 million of them in homes across the world right now. It's a $250 body scanner. Mass customization. Well, okay, so let's think outside the box. What if somebody's at home, they have a Kinect, they body scan themselves, and they send that data to a company that could custom make a pattern and make garment that fits you. And they'll get better at fitting you the more you buy from that company, because they'll know how you like your fit to be, if you like it a little bit tight or a little bit loose. How does that sound? It's like the Holy Grail, isn't it? Yeah, but can it be done? It's already being done. Lori Coulter is a made-to-measure swimwear company based out of St. Louis, Missouri. They have a body scanner in a mall just outside the city of St. Louis, where you can go in, a customer can get body scanned, and they will make you a custom bathing suit. It's about 110 pounds, but they guarantee the fit. And you have millions, literally, of suits to choose from, because they will make you almost any one piece you can think of, and they've got a slew of two pieces that they'll put together in any way you want. You can pick from a range of high-quality Italian fabrics that it's made out of, and it's manufactured right in the United States. So if there's any issues, they send it right back to the factory and get it fixed for you. And they guarantee fit for that garment. Wow. So, technology gives us easily obtained, accurate measurements. Customers can even scan themselves at home now, and if you check out Kinect body scanning on YouTube, and you will find dozens of these videos that you can watch, and it's amazing. Does anyone not know what Kinect is? I probably should have said that. Okay, good. Technology offers speed. Everything is done over the computer. Immediate access. Okay, I'm here, but I'm getting, and this is nothing new to you, it's huge to me. I'm getting email in my account that I can reach here and take care of business while I'm here at this conference. You couldn't do that 20 years ago. We can do it now. Technology helps us communicate. Customers can talk to one another about style, about fit, about sizing, about anything. They can also tell you where the next coolest thing is. Don't we always find out about new apps from our friends, for the most part? But there's still a lot left to do. And this is where you guys come in. I'm hoping to find that pair of pants before I retire, but you guys know the technology far better than I do. So what are you guys doing that we haven't implemented yet inside the fashion industry? And that's really my challenge left to you. So this is where I still am right now, still looking for that great fitting pair of pants. I'm thinking that if I can body scan myself, I can become a size Lyn, which is me. And that size Lyn doesn't ever gain or lose weight because she's always just size Lyn. Okay, so I'm not a set of measurements. I'm not dictated to by a standardized table. I'm just who I am. I can get that scan data, put it on my telephone, go to the nearest shopping mall, scan it, and buy clothes that fit. Doesn't that sound exciting? Yes, absolutely. Okay. Thank you for your time. Any questions? Yes.
This is slightly off subject, but what do you think about mannequins in stores as different sizes being used?
I love it.
Size?
I love any time we can see the clothes as they should represent the population that they're shown for.
And do you think on websites, on online retailers, they should start to use more average size women to model the clothes rather than the tall, slim models?
Absolutely. I'm a huge advocate for that. I mean, one of the things that we talk a lot about in the United States is British television. Because in America, everyone looks gorgeous. Everyone's a size 2. Everyone's got great teeth. Right? We love that you can watch the BBC and see real life human people. You know, with all their issues, and I mean, well, American TV's got issues. But nothing would please me better than to see actual, plus-size women modeling plus-size clothes. And unfortunately, a huge deal is being, unfortunately or not, I like the fact that they're embracing, there's a young handicapped woman that was just signed on for a major campaign, and she did it on a whim. And to me, that should be the norm. It should require headlines. And we should be doing this sort of thing all the time.
Even if a size 10 model is used in an advertisement, it's classed as being plus size, which is actually
not really plus size.
No.
You saw the Dove women. Have you guys been following that campaign at all? Have you seen that? What's been the outcry over here about that campaign? Anything?
Yeah.
Oh, Americans hated it. What were those fat, dumpy women doing up on the bulletin board? And I'm thinking to myself, are you married to a Victoria's Secret model? Because that's what women look like, right? Yes.
I work for Gap in the UK. Given your relationship as a fashion educator and your relationship with US retailers, how do you feel? Because we launched our denim about a year ago, and all I've got is negative response about this vanity sizing, because all it means is customers that have been loyal customers of Gap for years are now going into the shop and not knowing, and having to spend half an hour, 45 minutes trying to find a pair of jeans that fit. Like, how do you find that works? Do Americans actually buy into that? Because
the vanity sizing?
I don't think the UK consumers do.
Oh, you show me a size 6, I'm buying it. If it fits me, yeah. They buy into vanity sizing 110%. One of the interesting stores we have is called Chico's. Is anyone familiar with Chico's? They've actually created their own sizing system so that you are either a size 0, 0.5, 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5, or 3. So a size 1 is equivalent to a US 8 or 10. But you can say you're a 1.
So do you think that's something that US retailers trading in the UK need to watch out for? Because Topshop don't do that. Like, as much as there's an issue with sizing between the retailers in the UK, we don't do vanity sizing where like you can walk into Gap and be a UK size 10 and be wearing a size 6 or a 4, and it's not.
I went shopping when I first got here, and I was very disappointed in my size here. Yes, thank you. You guys aren't vanity sizing here. I think you have to do whatever the local customs are, and that before anybody would be successful here, you would have to size to what the population is used for. If they're not used to vanity sizing, then don't do it, unless you think for some reason your particular target market wants that. It actually started in the higher end of the United States, because to get me to buy a $300 dress, it better be a size 6. Yes?
If it's not so profitable and known that size matters affect profitability, do you think then the way our clothes are presented to us, like with Fashion Week and all those kind of things, that needs to change?
I don't think it needs to change. I would like to see it broaden. I mean, I think we've made huge steps in not allowing, I know some countries don't allow models with a certain BMI. If they're below like an 18 BMI, they're not allowed on the runway. If they're under 14 years of age, they're not allowed. And I think that's good, because some of these are just skeletal, which is not flattering at all. But I don't think we need to change. I'd just like to see an expansion of that. I'd like to see larger models, lots more color, lots more of everything. Size, yeah. Okay, yes?
Just going on to this point before, do you think vanity sizing can go the other way as well? Because personally, I won't buy from Zara, because I know for a fact I'm like a size 12 or a size 16 in Zara, but I won't shop there because I know that's where I'm going to be buying. Would you see that it goes the opposite way as well as being quite positive?
Do you think I'm going to see it going away?
No, like, if you are buying from a shop that you are a size 16 and because of vanity sizing being smaller or larger, do you see that as being a bad thing or a positive thing?
I think it depends on the customer. What I would really love to educate all customers is don't look at the label. Just keep trying, try on till it fits, and then look at the size and know that you're that size in that store, and it means absolutely nothing. I think we pay too much attention to what the sizes are on the clothing. Is that answering your question? Yeah. I mean, it's just, I'll try on clothes until they fit. I truly don't care that I think I'm a 14 or a 16 in your stores, which is horrifying. I'm like an 8 or a 10 in the States. So it's really horrifying. But you know what? I know that doesn't mean anything in the end. Okay? Thank you very much, everyone.